Good evening. I'd like to call together this Torrington Public Schools Facility and Technology Committee meeting on Wednesday, the 14th at 5:35 p.m. Roll call. Actually, we'll have a quick introduction because there's some new members here. If you could just introduce themselves as we go around the room.
Dean Pergola, Director of Facilities.
Rachel Viennes, Director of Technology.
Michael Wilson, Superintendent.
I'm just Jeff, the board member.
Yeah, I'm Joe Kalesha, one of the new members.
Elena Soleo, new board member.
Herman Minicha, teacher representative for the TEA.
Glenn Berger, Board of Ed.
John Kisco, old member of the Board of Ed.
Great, thank you very much. You looking to get an approval of tonight's agenda? Motion for an approval of tonight's agenda?
Yes, so much, yeah.
Do I hear a second? Second by Ms. Leo. All in favor? Aye. Next on to approval of the minutes from last month's meeting, I should say, which I think only I can approve. How do you handle that?
You can approve, but as a matter of record, because they're new members, as long as they reviewed them, but you can make the motion to approve.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting in the absence of other board members who were present at that meeting. You guys can second it if you've had a chance to look at them.
I have, yeah, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, anybody on public participation here in the building or otherwise? Josh, no? We'll skip that. Next steps, technology. Over to Ms. Vaines for her social media update.
Thank you. So I did pass out a piece of paper. I accidentally put Torrington Middle School twice. I put it under intermediate school as well, so I apologize for that, but that will be corrected in the packet. I've already sent it to the board clerk. So just a quick recap, Torrington Middle School takes the gold star this month. They had the most views. And I already spoke to Jason earlier and I already told him I was gonna give him a shout out. He was very creative this past month. And he decided to play a little game on Facebook where he was having the audience guess where the alternate field trip was for the students that were not going on the DC trip. So he basically took like a zoomed in portion of a screenshot of the photo that would tell them where they were going. And then by the end, you know, there were some guesses, some shares, some likes. So that was really fun and interactive. And as you all know now, they're going to see Hamilton on Broadway. So just really loved that he played that little game and that the public was interactive with it. So shout out to Jason for doing that on the social media this month. Awesome. Yeah. Any other questions about social media? Sure. Sure.
I love the positives and the likes and loves. I just had a question. Does anyone get spammed or blocked from the school sites ultimately skewing the data?
Not unless they were, not to my knowledge, not unless they were causing some sort of inappropriate comments or things of that sort.
So the data have been 100% positive.
I don't think Facebook lets you give them a down arrow anymore, so.
Right.
They
Well,
don't.
it's like a sad and a, but we haven't had any of those, which is good.
We would typically turn off the comments if we were seeing things like that, which the comments are still viewable on our end. It just wouldn't allow others to continue to comment. Sure. Any other questions?
On to your tech update.
Okay, so First thing I wanted to mention was we wanted to review the Arctic wolf data. So it's been going for a few months now. So I included the little report that Arctic Wolf offers from within their dashboard. And I wanted to bring particular attention down to the bottom in the remediation details. So you can see on November 20th, there was a phishing scam that was sent out to our staff titled "Don't Panic, Updated Benefit Guide." So unfortunately, that did get quite a few of our staff, 81 clicks on that link. And what happens when they click on that link, it basically redirects them to Arctic Wolf saying, unfortunately you clicked on a phishing scam, and then just gives them a little detail on, why it was unsafe to do so. And they have to complete a little remediation. So you can see that 58% of people completed that remediation, which is pretty good for the amount of people that clicked it. We did have a few less on the more recent one, the customer service process improvement, but there were only 9 clicks on that. So we're moving in the right direction. All it takes is that one click, and then you see that Arctic Wolf screen, and you go, oh boy. So, moving in the right direction, and I actually did have several staff members forward this email to me saying, is this legitimate, is this safe, which is, perfectly fine to do, and I actually encourage the staff to do. If they ever feel like an email or anything that is sent to them seems a little off or fishy, or it's something that they did not expect to get, they can certainly forward it to us, and we can take a look at that and help them determine whether it's legitimate or not.
Ask first, click later, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Anybody on the committee have any questions about the tech update for the phishing simulations?
I did have just a few other
sure.
things,
Go
if you
ahead.
don't mind.
Of course.
I wanted to cover that first because I know that we were talking about covering that. I did want to let everyone know that the Datto system that we spoke about last meeting has been installed and is currently successfully running our backups. So thank you all for that. Myself, as well as Mason, our technician, received training on it. Very happy with it so far. So that's good news. In other news, I did want to mention, just because there has been conversations back and forth between me and these groups of people, I just wanted to bring it to attention that the St. Jude's Telethon is going to be coming up on March 1st, and that's going to be at the Torrington Intermediate School. So just wanted to get that word out there, as well as History Day, which is going to be on March 14th. So just wanted to give those a little attention, and so people can mark it down in their calendars. And that's all.
Anybody have any questions on any of those items that Rachel has presented? I do have a couple of questions.
Sure.
The phishing reports, I see that it sent out 2,800 messages and there's 1,400 active users. Are we sending, is it a rotating, so that not the entire district gets the phishing campaign at once? Is that how we're doing it?
Correct.
And then the one stat that I was curious on is what percentage of compliance, or I say compliance, participation, we'll say, do we have in the videos they sent out, the actual forward-looking training videos?
If you give me just a minute, I might be able to see. So currently, we are only at 30%, which is still quite low. I did want to have the discussion with admins about maybe we can provide staff an opportunity, even during PLC days or something of that sort, for staff to catch up on some of their trainings. They are relatively short, as I've mentioned in the past, but sometimes things get overlooked in their emails and things of that sort. So providing them a specific time to participate in those trainings, I think would help boost the participation.
And they're about 3 to 5 minutes, I think, if I
Yeah,
recall
they're-
the ones I've been doing.
Yeah.
They're not long, and they're actually not horrible.
Yeah,
They're not horrible to watch. They're pretty well done.
Yeah.
good. Awesome.
And I think that was the only question I had. Oh, and on the data, which size did you end up going with?
I did go with the 12.
Well, okay,
Yep.
great. Absent any other questions, we'll move on to your capital presentation.
Sure. So if you look in the capital presentation, it is a little different than I've presented in the past, mostly because of the switch from MacBook to Chrome. So instead of asking for sometimes over $1 million in capital, it has reduced quite a bit. We have a fleet of Chromebooks coming up that will be requiring some replacements just because they're reaching end of life. I know that Google rather, did extend the life of several of their devices. But, you know, I think it's still a good idea to stay ahead of the game and get them replaced. As well as the continuation of laptop replacements for staff. That's something that I've had on this capital budget in the past. Interactive displays with the PC module which is the smart boards. Again, all things I've had on there in the past. And for this year, I also did network switch upgrades. There are a few switches out in the schools that are quite old, and I would like to update them and move them over to, because we are currently using Meraki, and those switches are not Meraki, they're either Aruba or HP. So I'd like to keep it uniform across the district and be able to monitor them all on one dashboard. Other things that are a little different on here, I did also include some UPS units. For those who don't know, a UPS is basically a battery backup that, you know, in the event of power loss, this would kick in and keep the switches alive basically until a generator can kick on or power comes back, you know, whichever comes first. We have some closets that, you know, they tend to beep at you when the batteries are low, so they'll be yelling at us for new batteries or replacements in general. So I thought it was a good idea to start including a replacement cycle in the capital. And if you would like me to go through each year, I can do that as well, or if you have any questions, I can answer that.
Maybe you could just touch on the iPads in 2029. Everything else is kind of a continuation of your replacement cycle, the Chromebooks and network switch upgrades. But
Yeah, so the iPads, it's again that 4-year mark where the service runs out and repairs become more expensive. So it's better to replace ahead of time than to let the warranties run out and be stuck with a potential bill. So I wanted to put that in there just so we were prepared. And one of the nice things that Apple has done recently is they are now providing 4 years of Apple Care without service fees if you can prove that you are putting them in an approved case. So they have a list of cases that are approved in their opinion that would extend the longevity of these devices. So as long as you are keeping them in those cases, they waive all of the service fees, which used to be like $50 an iPad to send it out and have it repaired, no matter what repair it was getting. So that's kind of nice as well. We don't have to keep a line item for that open, for repairs.
anything else you want to add on capital? Are you good?
I don't think so, unless anybody has questions, I could add more.
We'll turn to the group. Anybody on the committee or otherwise have any questions on the technology capital plan? guess that leaves me.
Sure.
I have just a couple questions. The Chromebooks, we replaced, was it 1,000 with the Chromebook Pluses that we just bought?
For the middle school, yes.
Or for it was high school, wasn't it? High school is using Chromebook Pluses now, aren't they?
Correct, and so is the middle school.
So that would be about 1,600. Okay, so then the next 1,200 would be what set of grades?
I'm sorry, oh, 12, those are regular Chromebooks.
But where would we be using those? Just, I know that our lower grades, we have Chromebooks, but they don't leave the building, so they're, for the most part, they're less susceptible to excessive damage.
Yes, however, because they are a bit older and some of them are still surviving from the COVID years, they do have quite a bit of cosmetic damage. And, you know, not necessarily things that would hinder the performance of it, but are just, you know, rather not pretty, you know, cut edges from being dropped and things of that sort. So, you know, would just like to replace those and give our students, you know, something nice to use, as well as them becoming out of compliance with Google updates.
And probably even above and beyond nice is that they're not breaking as often, which lessens the load on your staff.
Correct, yes.
So what is the cycle that you're planning on using? Is it 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? The software cycle is 8 to 10 for them, but obviously we're in a harsher environment than, you know, somebody home with just one. So what are we aiming for life cycle so that if we don't get the capital money, we get an idea where we're stretching, where we're kind of in the middle, where we're all the way at the end? I mean, when does it become critical, right? That's,
So I was aiming for 8 with the cushion of 10.
okay. Eight's totally reasonable, and I was gonna say 6 to 8 would be my guess in a school environment, so.
Right, and depending on, you know, the breakage we do see, right? So like I said, a lot of those Chromebooks were surviving from the COVID years where they were going back and forth in the backpacks of younger children. So we do have quite a bit of cosmetic wear on some of them.
Okay, and then network switch upgrades, which buildings are these? And you have them as priority 3. I mean, how old are they? I mean, if a switch goes down, or if it's a core switch in one of these buildings and it goes down, we lose, it doesn't matter how many Chromebooks we have, right?
These are access switches,
they're
not
just
core
access
switches.
switches.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe the core switches were switched out prior to me being in this seat. But these are access switches only.
Are the core switches on Meraki, or are they just a
Yes.
newer version of H? Okay, so you do have visibility across the board for at least
For core switches,
core
yes.
switches.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not super concerned about these switches?
No,
Concerned,
and,
yes, and they should be replaced, but they're not rising to level 1 because it's not the core.
yeah, and I also put them out for E-rate as well. So it's not as large of a priority, but I didn't put out enough in E-rate to replace them all. I wanted to reserve some funds in E-rate for each year. I didn't want to just blow our whole budget in the first year because they just replenished that funding for E-rate. So just trying to be conservative of it.
Oh, makes sense. Next one is the UPSs. Are those for our servers, network gear, those ones in the switch closets? Which ones are those? Are those UPSs also so close to end of life that we should prioritize those in any way?
That I also put them out for E-rate, so that's why they're at 3
Got
as
it.
well. Yeah.
Makes sense. Last question is the iPads.
Yep.
Some districts and even some in our work, they self-insure, which is kind of tough here because you only have the capital once. The repair it's difficult to play that game with. But
Yeah.
what are we seeing for damage rates on the iPads? I don't remember you gave us a nice spreadsheet once with damage to the various levels, and it seemed like for the most part, the younger the group got, for the most part, knock on wood, we had a little bit less damage.
Right.
Do you think we're having, we'll say 180 of those iPads destroyed or broken in the 4-year period?
No, not since we moved to a cart model. But like I was saying, with the end of life with the Apple Care, I feel like it's good to get ahead of it. And if you do turn them in a little bit early, Apple gives you a credit towards new devices.
And education gives you they're pretty good about that.
On top of education, exactly. So I think it's just good to stay ahead of the game. And, you know, I know that iOS extends quite far, but it does make the devices slower as they go on. And I mean, we all know if you have an iPhone, as soon as the new update comes out, your phone gets a little bit slower.
Almost like it's on purpose.
Almost. So just trying to stay ahead of that curve is all.
And then we have talked a couple times in facilities about phones, the phone system. So is that, I didn't see it anywhere, you've kind of talked about, hey, we need to address it because we have an older system. Is that in your plan somewhere? Are we looking for a grant for that outside of capital? How are we handling the phones? Because this one, very well done, it's put out for a 5-year period. Where do we want to drop the phones in the whole mix?
So I was actually able to purchase phones for the schools with some money from last year's budget, or no, this year's. So we started replacing phones in the schools. The communication between our current NEC system and Cisco was proving to be more of a headache than it was worth, keeping them both alive, and was difficult with the inter-district dialing and things of that sort. Calls were getting kind of routed all over the place. So we went ahead and started that project school by school.
And we did that out of GB, or how did we?
I believe so. Through I used state contract because they're Cisco phones.
And we're all cloud-based then, or you have?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anybody else have any questions?
One question.
Sure.
Which levels use the iPads?
That's K1, so kindergarten and first grade.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
If there's no other questions, then thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
You're up, Mr. Pergola.
Okay, so the first thing on our agenda for facilities is an update on the TIS roof. I'm going to turn this over quickly to Donna. She's going to give us some dates that we have coming up for that.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Well, as you know from our previous meeting, the bids came in high for the TMS, well, formerly known as TMS, TIS roof project that we applied for a grant with the state with. So we got a new estimate, and it is, of course, higher. So right now, what we're doing is we're going to reapply for extra funds from the state. In order to do that, we have to have our local appropriation match it, so we will be going out to referendum. We're hoping around early March. Dean, Mr. Pergola, and myself will be there next Tuesday at the joint meeting, Board of Finance and City Council, to present where we're at as far as the project goes. But that's basically where we're at right now. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
Anybody have any questions on the roof? No? So it will have to go to referendum for sure?
Yes, we have to
So-
bond the match.
The additional
So the match is usually like 25% of the project, so it's approximately $1.6 million that
So
we,
we're going to have a little bit of a project ahead of us then. If it goes, it will be the only, do we know, we don't know if it's the only item on the referendum or not.
it is, I believe
It will
so.
be the only.
Yeah.
Okay, that will be a chore, but thank you for the update.
Okay, next, I'd like to go over, I sent you guys a draft of our 313 Capital Reserve Fund, and I just handed out tonight. I sent it to the board clerk, the updated, and one that we submitted to the city. If you want to take a look at that. Some adjusted numbers, and these are the projects that we have again, and we wanted to do these in the past, they just haven't been able to been done because of finance. Now we seem to have enough money to handle this. So the first one, the chiller at Torrington Elementary School for $500,000. That's something that's been a Band-Aid for the last, well, since I've been here and prior. So that is really a critical piece of equipment we need to change out. The Vogel elevator, again, we have been Band-Aiding that together, and it's getting to the point where it's obsolete. Parts are getting harder and harder. Last time it was down was almost 2 weeks. By the time they were able to find the proper little $6 relay to make this thing work. Maybe it was a little bit more than $6, but my point is, the parts on it are really getting scarce. And so we're looking to take care of that. The next item is a combined Vogel DAS indoor air quality requirement from the state. This is where, and I know I've talked to the board about it before, where they come in and they do a assessment of our system. They'll go through the mechanicals and make sure that the indoor air quality, not really make sure, they're gonna check the equipment and they're gonna give us assessment on what has to be done. So this is merely an assessment, nothing to do with actual work to be done to get it up to par, just tells us what we need to do. I've also thrown in there, and that's usually about the research I did, and I talked to a couple different towns, that's usually in the neighborhood of 45 to, let's say, 50 cents per foot for this study. I put extra money in there because our mechanical system generally there in that building is really antiquated. Same thing, we're spending a lot of money on pieces of equipment that we're finding harder and harder to find parts for. And it's a consistent repair of fan motors and relays and things of that nature. The core of the system at Vogel is very good. When I say that, I mean the boilers. The boilers in there are in very good shape. I had the date when they were installed. We're okay on that end. These are all terminal units that are throughout the building that are failing. You know, just about every week we're changing things out. So the other item on here is something that we've been wanting to do again, is our locked foyer at Southwest School. The $15,000 is for the design. There's a couple of different ways that we can go, and I've looked at it before, especially when we were doing the Torrington facility. We looked at that, and there's some options that we want to look at. So a design cost is in there, and then of course, once the design is done, then we would go and install it. So that number of 257,066 comes from kind of historical data on what it cost us for the middle school and for Torrington. And we looked at it and, you know, kind of came up with a number that hopefully is sufficient at this time. So that gets a total of our 313 capital reserve of 1,052,06669. Any questions on this?
Let's see. Anybody have any questions? Comments? Anybody? Any other members? Okay, that defaults to me then, I guess. Go ahead, Mr. Berger.
With the air quality,
Yep.
it's stuff that they're gonna recommend to do. Do you have any idea of some of the items that they came up with that, hey, they're gonna recommend to do A, B, and C when they do that evaluation?
Yes, I do. And actually, if you look at my capital plan, which is next, you're going to see that in the capital plan, the things that I'm going to, I know it needs to be done. They're going to come up with it in their study. So that's when I said it's a little bit more, not just the indoor air quality, but there's also going to be, I want some design in there and just some guidance on some of these units we know we're going to have to replace.
That's covered in another, all right.
Yep.
Question on the indoor air quality. We had that state mandate a while back to have on a rotating basis over a period of years, get all of the indoor air quality. Will this meet the requirement for that one building?
This will meet the requirements that they want a percentage per year. And because of our new complex, we are able to buy a little bit of time because.
We'll count this as the first one.
Yes, so that's the approach I've taken so far. So that's why this year I want to make sure we at least get a building done that has not been done.
Okay. And then on the Southwest, I can only ask certain questions because it's security, we're not in executive session. But we had talked about a year and a half ago, Mr. Berger, I think it was about the Southwest locked foyer. And I think Mr. Euclid had some suggestions about design. Did we use the same person? Have we already done the design, or are we just, and it's, I look at this, we submit this capital request to the city for $257,000, and we don't have a whole lot of recourse if that number's not enough or if we're way off. You know, how are we handling that? Have we already done a preliminary design?
From what I gathered, somewhat of a preliminary, but not enough to go and start putting out the bid. So the architect that we used for the last two buildings, I spoke to him. And, you know, I asked him, you know, to put this together, because he has put some time in it, and I asked him for a budget number for design, and that's where the $15,000 came in for design. As far as the, oh, did you say something? Or was that me? Sorry. A little flashback there. As far as the dollar goes, for the actual lock foyer, it originally was budgeted for $90,000. Okay, so I feel pretty comfortable we should be covered, especially, again, there's certain things we want to do there that I think we're covered.
So when we get that design back, will we get to do an executive session to see what we're planning to do, just for numbers purposes? I suspect you're going to come back with a couple different options that, you know, we're going to have to shoehorn into a budget.
Correct.
Great. Any other questions on that? No? All right, on to your project list here.
Actually, no, I was going to go to my capital plan.
Can we do, we have project updates next on the agenda.
Oh, is that all good?
Yes, sir.
Oh, backwards. All right, okay. So you have the projects in front of you. Yeah, it threw me off on this one. All right, so I guess one of the big things I'll just say we're doing, we are still evacuating from Midgeon Avenue. I have the shredding company who I spoke to today, who told me they have a date of January 30th where they can start. I'm trying to get a plan on manpower and how to get rid of this stuff, really. So, you know, that's coming up. What we just completed was TTA. We got that up and running over at Fast Academy. It was we started right after they came back from Christmas break, and everything's been going great over there. They have a brand new kitchen set up over there. Rooms have been built for them. Equipment's been brought in. So there's been a lot of time over our Christmas break taking care of those two items, getting them set up over there, you know, getting them out of e-school also, and getting them brought over there, along with just continuing to sort through years and years and years of stuff at Midgeon Avenue. And then any other questions on any of these other projects that we have going or had going? Actually, if it was done, I took it off the list. So this is just stuff that is in progress or to be done.
To the committee and others, anybody have any questions on the project list?
Just one.
Mr. Berger?
Well, if you click on something, it seems to be like a link. And then we have to ask for an access code. I did it by mistake the other night, and it was late, and I didn't want to
Wait a
bother you
minute,
with an
hold
access
on. The
code.
thing I sent you was a PDF, correct?
Yes, but if you click on it, it allows you to, it's a link.
Yeah,
Project is a link.
yeah, the PDF.
Is there additional information we can access if we do that, or?
Yeah, no, you can't. It's kind of, so it's a program I use that you have to download Notion and go through all that to do it. It's just, it's not a,
It's an actual.
yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right, I've got surprise, I've got a few more. Intrusion alarm issues at the, maybe this was asked previously, but intrusion alarm issues, what's the story there? I know the Southwest, we just had an alarm panel replaced. Maybe that was the fire alarm, but there was an issue with the alarm, but a year or so ago. What are we up against in the intrusion alarm issues, bottom of page 19? Your first page of projects.
My first page.
It's at high
Yeah,
priority.
no, that's in progress. So we are 95% done. A little bit of a coordination with Soundworks on that, but all the schools are up and running. We're all on, Soundworks is, they're monitoring it. We're off of Sonatrol. We're not using them anymore. So we're the one that, when it says in progress, we're right there. We're not 100% yet, but
So
almost.
the alarm issues is just the transfer from Sonatrol to
That's all.
Soundworks, or?
That's all.
Okay.
Well, we had that problem, they had the problem with Frontier. We had a whole phone problem and POTS line and this and that, and so we ended up just, it started with Torrington and it went to Southwest and it went to other schools, so we just went and we,
Gotcha, and just moved to cellular, I assume, in most
Yep.
of those locations, yep.
yep.
Next is the Vogel Pre-K Playground. It's page 2, about a third of the way down.
Yep. So we are, Donna is also involved in this with some grant money where we're looking to put a pre-K playground in along the side of the school that runs parallel with Bill Conti's property. There's a fence that's there. Not sure if you know where it is. If you're looking at it from the street,
Yeah.
Vogel School is there, and then to the right of Vogel School, there's a piece of property there that we're looking to, we have a design going on for it, and Donna's got some grant money to put pre-K.
That's on the bus loop side or the front side?
No, the front side of the
Front
building.
side, okay, past the courtyard, further down. Right, Vogel, there's the courtyard on Prospect, right? Used to be the old courtyard.
Yeah, go past that.
Yep,
Yep,
okay.
exactly.
And then I just have a couple on things that are listed as Major Bessie or part of the new building project. That says 50 MB, the gates. I'm assuming is that the card access or?
Yep.
So is that an us thing or is that really a building project thing? Same thing with complex parking signs. I mean. we would think
No,
that-
parking signs are us. I guess what we have is what we have. So we've been putting up reserve signs and also visitor signs that they haven't on, they painted it, but we actually put posts and signs up, wasn't included, and.
Are we
very-
doing those ourselves?
Yes.
Okay. And there was one that was just repair items for fast.
Yes, there's just a list of small repair items that we're doing over there, nothing, there was a to-do list that I had of,
And the only other two was library key for THS, because that's also a new building.
yeah, just to figure out, to get somebody a key, proper key, or a proper core.
And then, Ken, this is my favorite one. It's actually been pretty good tonight. Cafeteria equipment noise.
Yep,
Did we manage to get a hold of them, and are they gonna warranty any of that stuff, or?
it's fixed, you don't hear
Yeah,
it, do
I
you?
don't hear it now. That's why I said it sounded pretty good.
Yes, we're actively working on it.
Great, I appreciate it. Without any further questions, one last chance, everybody. On to your capital, Dean.
Okay, so we broke it down per school, and I broke it down for priority, 1 or 2. I didn't go to 3 like Rachel did, I just went 1 or 2 here. Fast Academy, gymnasium floor resurface and paint. The floor over there is really in bad shape. It's very slippery, it's time to spend some money on the floor over there. But I do have that as a priority too. What I do have as a priority 1 over there are the gymnasium lights. Again, they're old they're old fluorescent lights up there with cages on them, and as soon as the ball goes up there and hits it, either the cage falls or something, and it's just unsafe. But the good news is we do have all the lights that we had from the old THS gymnasium I took down, and we can install those in there, which are LED lights. And the gym was lit up pretty well, to be honest with you, before we knocked it down. So we're hoping to get that done. We were just over there also this week, the drinking fountains that were in the old drinking fountains that were recessed in the wall in the gymnasium, right in front of them, the floor, it sprung a leak and rotted a good part of the floor out. Fortunately, it looked like it happened before, so it really didn't rot out the gym floor, it rotted out the repaired floor from the leak prior. So we ended up just ripping those drinking fountains out, and we have a brand-new bottle filler drinking fountain in the hallway that we're gonna utilize. Then the reason why I say that is because, again, the whole gymnasium area, the lights, now that that's cleaned up, and then the floor. We do have some items that we need to change in the classrooms downstairs. They were set up for little kids, so they're like everything is squatty. Toilets are squatty, the countertops are squatty, everything is squatty. We're able to fix the toilets by putting a nice 3-inch lift toilet seat on there, which was an easy fix. But we're finding out now that these switches are on the outside of the wall instead of the inside of the bathrooms. So now people are going in there and people can shut the lights off. So we want to do some change there. Also, the bathroom doors weren't lockable. We do want to put some sort of lock on the doors. Each one of those classrooms has got I don't want to say kitchenette, but a countertop with a sink in there. And it does have a water fountain, not a cooler, but just a water fountain that the teachers are finding them very useful where they don't have to send the kids out into the hallway to use them. But again, they're at children height. So you really got to bend over to get these things, and some of them are broken down. So I'm looking to raise the height of all of those, maybe take the cabinets out, put in regular countertops in with other sinks.
Could be a part of our PE program, squats and.
Yeah, it could be, it could be. So that's a little explanation behind what we're doing there. Any questions on Fast Academy? I'll just keep going, you guys stop me if you have a question. We go over to Vogel Wetmore, and again, we talked about it in my other plan here for that building. So we do have, okay, so because we made that adjustment, I have it in here also, because I took it out, but I didn't take it out of capital. So we'll have to take that $80,000 out there, because that would be covered under the 313 fund. So we have to make an adjustment to that. But you'll see below that, replace heating system per facility study, and that's 1.64, you can see the number there, $1,643,000 for that complete heating study, heating system in that building. Let me take the word complete out. That is for everything I talked about before, all the room heaters, unit ventilators, things of that nature, and possibly the DAS requirements included in that also. Okay, as you go down to the Torrington Middle School, and just so you know, also on here, just to explain a little bit, on all of these, you'll see a double star in the second column over. That means that it is eligible for OSC and our reimbursement. And as you can see, my totals coming down. Let's use Vogel Wetmore for an example, just to explain it. The totals of the project for Vogel Wetmore would be $1,723,750. The amount eligible is what it is for the heating system. The engineering for it is not eligible. So that got pulled out of it. So right now we're at a 74% reimbursement. That's what that equals right there. So the total that the city would be paying in the end would be $507,375 for a $1.7 million job. So they're all broken down that way as I go through them. Torrington Middle School, the public address system over there is in pretty bad shape. So that was, again,
Mr. Bergola, you mean the intermediate school?
I do meet the intermediate
Just
school.
thinking maybe
I will change that too. There's
yeah,
another
maybe
mistake.
we could even put Torrington Intermediate School, formerly TMS or something, but just, you had me confused for a moment.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. If you go down to Southwest School, again, the PA system down there is in some need. The repair of stairs I put as a number one priority. Could be a tripping hazard, and really looking to, we've done some floor work down there already, but this is getting worse, where it's starting to peel away from the rise of the stairs, and you can see where it's definitely going to be a tripping hazard. So again, that's in there. Unfortunately for that, grant money isn't really eligible for those items. If you look at Torrington Ford School, we have additional cameras that we talked about there. We got quite a few blind spots. I don't remember actually the total number of cameras that are in there, but it's not very many. Yeah, so we're limited to cameras over there. We want to add some cameras. We also want to add some access badge and controls to get into the building. Right now, you know, it's a one-story building. There's a lot of doors in and out of that place, and depending on where teachers go with the kids, it's really not covered. There's not enough access to get from the outside in through using a badge. If you go down a little further, district plan here, this is more for everybody. Of course, custodial machinery is a number two priority. Number one priority I put would be snow removal equipment. This is, you know, we did purchase something for here last year at this time. We got some money and we bought a new tractor with a snow blower attachment and a broom attachment on it. And I really want to start going down the road to get a room attachment at every one of our schools. It works so much better, getting these sidewalks clean instead of just pushing snow and leaving that layer of snow on. We're actually going out there after a storm and we're getting right down to blacktop, or we're getting right down to concrete, where before you'd throw salt down and now you're bringing in salt. So we're using less salt. It's a better job. It's less wear and tear on the concrete, the broom, instead of a metal blade going across it. So looking to change them out as we go here. Our next one would be actually Southwest School. That his piece of equipment over there is definitely the oldest one we have. Okay.
So, for the snow removal, is that 50,000? That's just for one school then? So that's like,
That'd be one, yep,
that's the price for one broom. Okay.
yep, yep.
Anything else you want to add, Mr. Pergola, before I open it to?
Let me just see here. No, I don't think so. The totals are on the bottom. Can't believe I left it as middle school.
Yeah, it's at the bottom too, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at it again. Yeah, I gotta change that to TIS. All right.
All right, then I'll open it up to questions. What's the crew have for questions on the 5-year proposed capital plan? Anybody? Mr. Bird?
I'm going to talk about the access control stuff. Just a question maybe for Rachel and Dean. I know prior to your arrival, the previous person was talking about standardizing the same access control platform at all schools. I don't know if that was ever done or not done.
Yes, it was.
It was. So they're on the same platform that this high school's on now?
Correct.
Okay. I would question a little bit the number for 6 card reader ads at that dollar amount.
For which one?
You had 6 access badge control.
Badge readers?
You're adding 6 new access control doors? Yeah, that's a very, very light estimate. Just so you know.
So most of these have push pads.
Okay.
And it'd be replacing, I don't know how many, I forget how many we said. But so it wouldn't be like, we're not talking running wire, we're not talking that, we're talking about replacing just that control instead of push button to the card swipe.
But that card swipe's got to go to that head end where
Yep.
the new access control panel is.
Correct, but we did put a new one in there when they did the locked foyer project, or I should say reused from the old high school.
Okay.
We had 2 access control panels at the old high school, so we took them out. One was utilized at TIS, and the other was put into Torringford. So we did reuse that equipment, and the PIN code pads that Dean's referring to, they're already ran to that system, so it would just be physically replacing that PIN code one with a badge reader.
Okay.
And it's the same wires and everything. We also, we did take all the badge readers off of the old high school, and that is what is on some of the doors at Torringford now, but this would just be to complete all the other doors, because like he said, it's one level and there's a lot of access doors in that school.
Can I make one suggestion? Maybe we buy new card readers that are multi-tech card readers so that we can upgrade credentials in the future without changing hardware?
Sure,
We could talk offline. I mean, the cost of a reader is not that much.
absolutely.
Repurposing a $200 card reader versus buying a new one.
I'd be more than willing to,
It gives us the flexibility to add another layer of security in the future.
I would love that.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions on the capital budget? Mr. Cluj?
Yeah, maybe I should have asked this a little earlier, but for the intermediate school with the roof, I know reapplying could be time consuming, and then obviously going through the bidding process too. Would we expect, I'm just not familiar with the current status of it, like would we expect in that time to possibly have to do repairs? Is it that bad in terms of its current state, or?
No, it's under control.
Okay.
So we know the weak spots, and we've been able to keep them under control.
Okay.
With very, very little, I've had city roofing out there maybe twice just to do a patch here and there, but we've been able to control it pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
So that would be a priority too then? It's a lower priority? And then just from Really, my question would be on these reimbursable items, given the uncertainty in educational funding these days. Is there anything that, maybe take it to the group here, what they think, but some of these reimbursements at 74% is a good deal for us. Do we have anything we want to pull forward? I mean, the city is obviously not always had a lot of money to give us, but it does seem to work a lot of times to be able to say, hey, look, we're getting 74% of this, and we may not 2 years from now. So just with all the uncertainty going on out in the education community and funding at the moment, I wasn't sure if we'd given any consideration to that or what anybody else may think about that. Slavi, you're
To
the
be honest
grant
with-
person.
Yeah, no, did not put any consideration to it. It's more or less, this is the things that we need to do, and I understand that that could be a problem, but I can't predict that or.
Well, of course, but I wasn't sure if
for
you had anything that, you're very good about not requesting $36 million in 1 year. I mean, we all know that the constraints that we have, but is there anything that maybe we want to pull forward, given that, also even.
Well, at this time, the only thing I would say is what is on this here are definitely our priorities on what we're gonna ask for. That it's our money already, and we don't have to, those are the priorities right now, as first priorities. And I guess you can look at everything else as 2 and 3, because, we are patching as we go. It's just, it's costing a lot of money to keep patching these things.
Well, that's the case I'm somewhat suggesting we would make to the city that,
Yeah.
hey, every year we wait to do a $2 million project, as we're finding with the TIS roof.
Right.
That started as a $2.5 million roof, then we thought it was gonna be $4.5 million, then
Right.
we have to start over again. 2 years later, it's a $6.5 million roof. And when would we start, to Joe's point, when do we start the process of a 27, 28 roof so that it actually happens in 27, 28? We're starting this sometimes before we have the money, obviously, but is that a doable thing? Start a little bit early so that when we get there, the work research is done? I'm just afraid that the same thing is gonna happen again. That's not your fault, but you have to work with the forces that are against us, right? And the state and the city and all these things that have pushed it on. I mean, Mr. Berger may remember better. How many years has the TIS roof been rolling through? And yeah, so that's no fault of yours. but-
Just, may I speak or? oh,
Of course.
Okay, thank you. I just want to reassure everybody that the plans for the roof were approved by the state. The increase is unfortunately a natural ask that a lot of communities have to go back and ask the state for more money. It requires one form for us to fill out the reason why we need to ask for it. Of course, we have to have the local appropriation secured before we could do that. So, if March, we find out, yes, we can go ahead, then hopefully the bidding process takes a month, and then hopefully we'll be doing some work over the summer on the roof. But it isn't reapplying for the whole grant all over again. All those 20, 30 forms are submitted, they're approved, the drawings are approved, everything's, pretty much ready to go. But it is unfortunate that the wheels of bureaucracy do go slow, to no one's fault. Everyone's trying to do the right thing.
I appreciate that. The only two questions I have left are the two on the top of the second page, the thermostatic mixing valves in the labs and the replaced generator at Torrington. I didn't see it on the list of when you wanted to do it, so I wasn't sure if it didn't show up anywhere in the columns. And then also at Torrington, the replacement of electrical receptacles, do we do that ourselves?
No, so on Torrington, hold on a second. Lost my own page here. Yeah, I just didn't carry that over. So,
They're not, I was just only concerned that maybe you wanted them for this year,
yeah,
that's why I'm asking.
no, I will carry those over. I thought, yeah, you're right. No, I'll take care of that.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we shall move on. Now. All right, topics for future meetings. You guys have anything down there that, on your end, that needs to show up? Anything down?
No, not at this.
Besides the usuals?
Yeah, besides usual, nothing at this
Not
time.
besides the usuals.
Nothing besides usuals? All right, anybody on the committee have anything they'd like to see on the next meeting? Or we can defer to Mr. Cronin, whose meeting it would be. Mr. Berger, you have something?
Are there any contracts that are expiring that need to be renewed soon, that we should start talking about or start planning?
None that are off the top of my head right now. The only one, we're in the third year of our Hussey. That was the only one that I had questioned, but we're in our third year of it, so we're in good shape there.
Which one?
Hussey does does all our bleachers, does our grandstand. So we made some adjustments because they're new, so we're not going through maintenance and repairing these, just inspections this year. But we're in our third year of that anyway, so they just sent us a proposal out for when it is up. But we're covered under this year.
And I'll just ask for next meeting, if you can give us an update on how the new plow company's doing.
Yep.
All right, I'm sure Mr. Cronin may have some other ideas for his next meeting, but in the absence of that, I will look for comments of the good of the order. Mr. Michaels?
Thank you.
Thanks. Great meeting.
Good meeting, thank you.
Good meeting, thank you.
Good meeting, thank you.
Yep, good meeting, thanks.
Positive meeting, thank you.
Anybody? Mr. Berger? Mr. Kisco?
Two quick things. One, thank you, Mr. Pergola, for eliminating the distractions, the noises behind us. That was very helpful tonight. And also the open house. Somebody should talk about the open house because it went very well. Saturday morning, this building, middle school, and a lot of people showed up, and I don't know if the superintendent would like to say anything more about it, but it was a great experience.
Thank you, Mr. Kisco. I would love to. Yeah, it was a great turnout, about 270 people by the clicker. Students did a wonderful, wonderful job escorting and giving tours. Every person that came back from the tour, some were winded, as Mr. Kisco and I noticed when they were walking out of the building and commenting on how large both of the buildings were. But everyone gave huge accolades to our tour guides. Mr. Putnam, your son, was one who ran many tours, actually. We definitely put him to work. I think he was the second highest tour giver. Someone beat him out by one.
Oh, good.
But not that that's a competition. But it was really a wonderful day, and the community had nothing but positive things to say. So thank you, Mr. Kisco, and really a shout out to those student volunteers. They were here at 7:30 on a Saturday morning. So yes, I did bribe them with donuts and bagels, but to get them out of bed on a Saturday morning was a real testament to their dedication to Torrington Public Schools. But it was a great turnout and a great day. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for a great meeting, and thank you both for all of your hard work on the capital budget. I know it's not simple to put together, and it takes time, and you have 1.5 million other things to do. I also received a lot of text messages about the tour, people just impressed with our students, and that there were young students giving tours to adults. And, in today's world, young children and adults don't always able to communicate in the same way, or they're afraid of each other from a, just awkwardness standpoint, but everyone went very smoothly and a lot of positive feedback. So thank you all for the hard work. And after that, a motion to adjourn. And second, all in favor? Thank you all. Have a good night. Good evening. I'd like to call to order this Torrington Public Schools Budget Committee meeting on Wednesday, January 14th, 2026 at 6:37 PM. And we will start with a roll call. We'll just ask for quick introductions too, for some of you are new, for our new board members. Great.
Sandy Megan, TEA President, Interventionist at Global Wetmore, representing the teachers. Donna Labby, Director of Finance.
Michael Wilson, Superintendent.
Jeff Putnam, Board of Education.
Joe Kalesha, Board of Education.
Elena Soleo, Board of Education.
Glenn Berger, Board of Education.
John Kisco, Board of Education.
Great, thank you. We won't have to do that again, but I just wanted for the board members' benefit who haven't met everybody yet. All right, next, we need an approval of the agenda. You're looking for a motion to approve the agenda. This is the agenda. So this is the current weeks. Yep.
So moved, sorry.
All right, so need a second? All those in favor? Aye. Approval of the minutes. I believe I'm also the only board member here from that meeting, so I will submit a motion to approve the minutes. Just need a second. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody here for public participation? I don't see anybody in the room. Mr. Michelson, anything? Nope, then we will skip that. Moving on to discussion and next steps. Mrs. Labby, it's going to be monthly financials for you.
Great. Well, good evening, everybody. Everyone received the packet for the budget to date to the 12/31/2025 end of month. And before I just jump into a few items that popped out, I just wanted to answer a couple questions that were asked at the previous meeting. So I just wanted to go through three of them. There was a question about the substitutes for the teachers and the paraprofessionals, and that was trending high. And the question was posed because we had the perfect attendance also being, utilized to its fullest, why that was. And the reason being is because we've had more fill rates, so we were able to get a lot of these absentees filled, and there's also a higher pay. Minimum wage has been increased, so that has increased that expense. And also, we were having some long-term leaves. So those were the reasons why that was trending higher, even though the perfect attendance was being utilized. The other question was for a sub-nurse. I had misspoke and said that we had to have a fill for an opening, but actually it was a nurse that was needed for additional care for a student that had some medical needs. So that's why we had a substitute nurse come in. The last point was the electricity bill, our favorite topic. I did do some look back, and it looks like we've been underfunding that line item for a while at around $1 million, even with our previous structure of the buildings. So I think it was a combination of a little underfunding, some additional expenses over the summer, as we know, for TMS and the construction. But we are looking at that line item to, fund it appropriately, and we do, thanks to Superintendent Wilson, have that funding coming for use and occupancy from our CAF budget. So that's going to help offset the overages there. So that was basically questions that were asked on the previous budget presentation. I don't know if anyone has any questions on the answers to those. If you want me to just jump right in. Okay, here we go. So everybody received their packet, and just want to acclimate the new board members. On page 5, you're going to see what looks like a 30,000-foot view of our budget. So we usually have the roll-up first, and if you have it in color, it's like the blue and the lighter blue stripes. Then if you continue on, it's going to go deeper into the budget line items on pages 6 through 7. And then on page 8, is where it really gets exciting and dives into the weeds of the budget. So I just went through it. We're in good shape for where we are in the fiscal year. There were a couple items that popped out that I was just going to bring to your attention. So on page 8, if everybody could turn to that, you're going to see some line items for stipends for the actual number is 5111.50, and you're going to notice that we're at 82%, and those stipends are normally paid out twice a year. The reason why we're trending higher there is there's been some reclassification and some funds that were, some stipends that were being billed to different line items that we're correcting. So we have some grant stipends for the social media reps that had hit that line in error. So we're really digging deep, working on making sure that those are all tied out for the rest of the year. So you'll see some accommodations there coming up. Then the other item is on the bottom of that page, and it's the paraprofessional for Bristol Tech. I might have mentioned this at another meeting, but once again, that staff was being billed to another line item. That's why if you look all the way over to the right, second column from the right, you'll see it's only 8% utilized, and a reclassification needs to take place there as well. Right underneath that, the CODA, the Certified Occupational Therapist Assistants, we had another staff member that was being billed to that line item as well. And I just want to make a note that we had about maybe 200 to 300, I know Lisa can attest to this, moves when we did the reconfiguration of the schools. And so the budget had to have, multiple areas where we needed to make sure that staff were being assigned to the appropriate line item, and we were pretty much 99% there, thanks to everybody in the finance and HR department. So the next item I just wanted to point out was on page 9, and it is, if you go down the page 3/4 of the way, it's 5130, and I just wanted to know the OT wages for clerical have been trending down. We've been keeping an eye on that, and again, I think that was a little underfunded from previous years, so we're going to work on that for our next year's budget. Then you can go all the way to page, I want to say 12. And on page 12, I just wanted to point out, especially for the new members, that tuition for special ed is kind of a moving target sometimes. It's hard to really lock it in. So you're going to notice at the bottom of the page that it appears that we are over in that line item. However, if you look right above it, we have some other funds that we're under. So we're going to keep a close eye on this and hoping to land in the black there. So we're not overspent. I believe that's it for my updates or notes as far as the budget goes, and I didn't know if anybody had any questions.
Hey, Donna, could you just explain encumbrances for them quick, just in
sure.
case, they're not familiar with it?
Yes. So if you look at page 5, you're going to see a multiple columns. You're going to see the budget column to the left. You're going to see the month-to-date expenses right next to it. And right to the right of that, you're going to see encumbrances. And what that is the majority of our budget is encumbered, meaning we set that money aside with a purchase order. So for instance, we'll take Eversource for electricity. We'll set aside $100,000, and then every month when we receive a bill, we'll put the invoice against that purchase order. So the money is set aside. So it appears that it's consumed in a lot of the line items, like for transportation, you might notice that. But indeed, it is just being set aside so that we have it there. We know not to use it in any other place. And it's there to fully consume by the end of the year.
Great, thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for Donna on the budget? No? Anybody else? Oh, I have a small list. Okay. A question, is there, just for the board members' benefit, and I've never asked this question before, is there a way to tell between a 10 and 12-month line items? A lot of these line items, when you're watching the percentages, because when I first started, I looked at the percentages only. And so some of these percentages get skewed because our budget starts July 1st, but we don't have any expenses out of it until September 1st because it's a 10-month line item. Do we have any idea what some of those 10-month items are so that they wouldn't be skewed by the percentage?
Yes, so that's actually a really good question, and we are looking at that as far as 12-month employees versus 10-month employees. So the para line, you'll notice, is one of those 10-month line items, and the teacher line is more of a 12-month. So we don't encumber the salary, so those are the only line items, if you'll notice on the top 5,100. All the 100s are salary line items, and we don't encumber those. But once again, to Mr. Putman's point, the 10-month employees the percentage is a little different than you would see a 12-month employee. As far as other expenses, I want to say that we do encumber, as soon as we hit the ground running in July, for utilities and for professional services. Some things don't come in like tuition until we really open the doors to the school because people are kind of moving around. Those are hard to pin down.
Oh, of course. Next one is 5121 for the tutors. I asked this question a couple months ago. I'm just going to revisit it quick. That we had 17,000 this month, down from 22,000 last month, but we're heading towards like 100K over. Do we have is that an anomaly this year? Do we need to change our budget for next year? I'm just kind of starting to get into budget mode a little bit.
Yes and yes. It's an anomaly, and we do have to update it for next year. I did look at a trend analysis, and the 100 is probably maybe even a 120 is a good place to land there because it's a little bit unpredictable as far as where we're going to need the tutors, but it might be safe to go higher for sure.
And this one's from Mr. Pergola. Not a complaint, though. 5130.80, the OT custodial. Looking towards the budget for next year, do we feel that this is an anomaly with all the extra overtime? We did 33,000 in December. Or do we think we really just have to, we gave it a pretty good bump last year with the new facilities. What's the driving force behind the OT in your line item this year? And do we need to account for it next year?
Yeah, I think a lot has to do with the, just the transfer of the schools and the amount of time we spending overtime, having to come in normally when we won't have to. And we do also have some of our other schools being used. Southwest School is now, the gymnasium is being used for a soccer club over there. That is 503C, 503B, right? And also Fast Academy, that is being used also. So there's some additional people in our gyms that, we're part of our facilities package.
That don't pay us because of their qualifications.
Because of qualifications, yeah. But the majority is definitely based on everything that's gone on. I mean, we just, it's been no holds bar.
Yeah, I was just thinking,
Yep.
thinking for next year.
Yep, got it.
5320, professional education services. I'm not sure how I missed this one before. There's no transactions in it, 117,000. What, are we expecting any transactions? Or is it one of those, we moved them to a different line item? You're always very good about that stuff.
Yeah, so that's adult education. Torrington is the hub for the adult education. So we receive funding from the state to offset it. It's about 250,000, but 117,000 is what we need to appropriate per legislation.
Oh, okay.
So we just received the invoice, so we just paid it.
Okay, great.
You'll see it in the next month.
And then 5340.01 legal fees. It was 44,000 this month. With all that's going on, are we expecting to have to line item transfer to cover that for the rest of the year? Or?
We're going to keep tracking that. In February, we're going to make some recommendations for some line item transfers, so we will keep a close eye on that. That, again, is sometimes a little hard to predict.
Okay, and then on page 10 of your packet, 5340 and 5340.04. I was just curious what the difference between other professional services and miscellaneous professional services was.
That's a great question. I have the same one. I do look at what's coming out of each one of those. Other professional services does include some special ed services in there. Miscellaneous professional services is more like the shredder and some odds and ends that we work with. But we're going to look into tidying that up for next year.
Okay, thank you. Now we talk about line transfers next time. 5530.05, which is on page, I think it's page 9, 11, 12, 50, yeah, 5530 is on page 12. That is, 05 is licensing and warranty contracts. We're pretty much out of our encumbrances, and we're heading over. Do we expect that to continue on trajectory, or?
We're all set on licenses, so once again, if we have to do a line item transfer, there's some other additional funding in tech supplies that we're not consuming, so we might use that to balance it out. But we have all of our licenses, so there'll be no more purchases there. And if there are, we do fortunately have some grant funding that could help supplement.
Great, thank you. And this one is on the tuition for VOAG. We split it out between VOAG, SPED, and VOAG, and the question here was, does the limit, we actually limit the number of students who can go to, say, Lakeview. There was a whole discussion about that years ago when they came out and they let as many people as they want go, and then we put a cap on it, which districts are allowed to do. Does that cap encompass both SPED and regular ed, or is that a separate, can a SPED student elect to go to Lakeview regardless of our cap? How does that work?
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. And lastly, the big one is health insurance. When do we expect to have some, that's probably one of the largest risks to next year's budget as far as from a cost driver. Do we have any idea when we're going to hear, whether either one of you can speak to that?
I can definitely speak to that. We've been in constant contact with our broker, and our broker is working very, very hard to get the number down, and to, obviously, everyone across the state, across the country actually has received an increase in insurance, so we're subject to that as well. But however, Brown & Brown is working very hard to keep our number minimal, and we should have that number within the next 2 weeks so we can plug it into our budget.
Great. Anything they can do is certainly a help. It's a big portion of the budget. All right, that is all I have for questions on that. Anybody else have anything that may have come up in the meantime? Anybody else?
I guess just looking for a little clarity on page 12, line item 556304, the private sped DCF. I guess I just see that number is pretty high above. I don't know if there's just something I'm unaware of, or.
Yeah, I can definitely, so anything that's DCF related, we're mandated to pay because that is a DCF placement.
Got it.
And the best part is the DCF placements don't necessarily mean that they are Torrington students, correct? They can be DCF placed from Newington to Torrington, and we absorb that expense out of a Torrington budget.
Okay, thank you.
I have two questions. 5563, tuition private, does that mean outplacement students?
Yes.
Okay. So that would be different from like the special ed line item?
Where are you at? 55?
63.
5563. Okay, so you're looking at the two, oh, I see what you're saying.
Tuition private.
Yeah, no, they're both special education. It's just the way that it was named.
Okay, so that would encompass all outplacement special education students?
Correct.
Would that be all, or would that be a special education outplacement to private facilities versus public? Because we do have SPED public, which I think is
Absolutely.
an outplacement that goes to a public establishment versus a private establishment.
Correct.
That's probably what you're asking, right?
I didn't know if we had public.
Yeah, so they're split up based on technically where they're going, who we're paying the bill to. Is that accurate, Donna?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, and lost my page here.
Happens to me all the time.
My pages are a little, 5295, $17,500 for clothing allowance. What is,
Yeah, I believe that's for the custodians.
It's in their contract as a clothing allowance, I believe.
okay, thanks.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right, anything else? Then we move on to the budget development calendar.
Yeah, so I just wanted to put it back in the packet because just to update one of the dates, the March date needed to be March 18th. I think your previous one had the 25th or something. So we just updated that. As far as the progress goes, we're moving right along, right according to the schedule. And I just want to thank everybody in the central office cabinet and especially HR because we are like working very well together and really digging into a lot of these line items that might have needed to be dusted off from yesteryear, and making sure that we have everything accounted for in the budget, down to the stipends, down to the clothing allowances, and so forth. And I couldn't do it without Ms. Schulte and her team, and especially Lisa. So I just want to give a big shout out for that. And Superintendent Wilson has been a great guide in this whole process. So just want to thank everybody. We're moving right along, so I feel like our timeline is intact. And if anybody has any questions, definitely here to help.
Anybody have any questions on the budget timeline? Mr. Kisko? Yes, they do. We will add that, we need to get let's see. We have to add an addendum to the agenda for that, correct?
You could do it right, since you did development, you'd have to just go back to A. Yeah,
Okay.
you're fine. Yep, you're
Got
okay.
it. That sounds good. All right, then any other questions on the development calendar? My only comment on the development calendar is, I think this is going to be a very different year than we've had in the past, given what we think the budget's going to need to go up by to meet all of our contractual obligations. We have a pretty good feeling that the city's still in a rough position, so I think when you guys give us that first, the first edition of the budget, we may have maybe more questions than normal. Maybe we'll have to add a meeting to the agenda, but we'll see how that goes. And then I do need to get a motion to, if we can, back on monthly financials. Thank you, Mr. Kisko, to pass the monthly financials along to the full board, which will meet at the end of the month. And a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye, thank you. Thanks again, Mr. Kisko, for the catch. All right, topics for future meetings. I added E-rate reimbursement, which ironically came up tonight. There have been some changes in the E-rate reimbursement rules and what you can and can't get E-rate reimbursement for, so hoping to get just an idea how that whole thing fits into the picture for us at the next meeting. Does anybody else have anything on their list that they would like to have added to the budget agenda? And if you can't think of it now, you can certainly reach out to me at any time. Elena? Anybody else? Mr. Pergola? Okay. In that case, comments for the good of the order. We'll start with Mr. Kisko this time.
Good meeting, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, good meeting, thank you.
Mr. Wilson?
Good meeting, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you, everybody, for the effort. We look forward to a lot of hard work ahead and appreciate all the time and the energy that's going to have to go into this. So thank you all for that hard work, and a motion to adjourn. So moved. All those in favor?